Hello, so today we're going to be going over a little bit of a fun one. It's going to be GALIO Hero Augment now. I've been trying to grind out and play so that I hit all the hero augments. I think I hit them all. The only one there probably won't be a video for is Rumble because it felt really underpowered and I went like Giga 8th. So I have to revisit that, kind of figure out what I did wrong there. But today's video is going to be about GALIO. So GALIO, pretty good. Basically, Galio's hero augment is similar to Shen, where it just makes him from a frontline unit to a backline unit that does a lot of damage with auto attacks, or with casts at least, right? So I think the Galio build is you build him similar to Shen, like you do double Guinsu, and I don't know what the last item is, if you just want him to have raw damage, or if you want him to have some sort of healing. But basically, we'll see it here. I'll pause it on the actual hero augment so we can kind of like just read it a little bit in case we want to. Yeah, so DEJA VU. So gain a Galio. Strongest Galio gains +3 range, gains 15 mana and 8 ability power on each attack. So because he's gaining mana and ability power on each attack, it seems like he wants to be an auto attacker, like a Guinsu build, right? Because you get a lot of value for each attack and ramping up that attack speed. Excuse me. And then his spell deals 130% increased damage and no longer stuns or reduces damage. So before, that was its main ability, is that it stunned and reduces damage. So I don't have any Galios. I would say in this spot, right, taking this augment, this is bad, right? Because like I said, you always want to take it when you have you never want to take a hero augment when you're not in a good spot to hit the units on tempo. So as you can see, I have only one Galio, which is the Galio they gave me, right? Because it's not DEJA VU plus. It's not like I'm getting in round 2 that I'm getting a 2-star Galio. I have one rod. This is the galaxy where you get a fawn to start, I think. So to keep in mind that I'm also having +1 unit in this board. I'll try and point that out if I remember to say that later, because that's not something that you'll always have, right? Galio, in terms of his traits, they are Vanguard, Mage, and Portal. So Portal, basically it summons like a portal and it releases junk that does different effects. Some of them heal, some of them do damage to the opponent, some of them stun. Sometimes it summons like extra units like Krugs and stuff, whatever. It's not the biggest deal. Mage is extremely strong. It's basically like similar to like a multicaster in previous set. It's basically like when you cast your ability, it casts a second time. So especially with DEJA VU being like that, he's gonna be casting and the cast has a lot of increased damage. Having Mage in is pretty important, I would say, because it would make it so that you double cast and do that increased damage for as long as possible, right? For as many times as possible. The other thing that I would say is that Vanguard is super strong. So also I forgot with Snapshot you have to press confirm, so you'll see me like fumbling with the team builder for a lot of this early stages of the game. But basically this is what I'm trying to build, right? I'm trying to build towards 6 Vanguard, because usually whenever you're picking a hero augment, you want to try and like really support the traits that the hero actually has. So in this case, a lot of times with frontline units, whenever you have a hero with a frontline trait, you want to max out like the frontline trait. Vanguard is basically like Warden from the previous set. I'm always looking for that word because it always escapes me. But basically, Vanguard, every defensive trait in TFT, there's usually going to be 3 defensive traits per set. And the defensive traits are going to be one that increases HP, one that reduces damage incoming, and one that gives you armor MR. So Vanguard is the one that gives you reduced damage, right? It also gives a health shield. So making it so that your Galio is really strong makes a lot of sense. And so I want to play, typically, like in my head, I think the easiest board that I could think of is just play towards 6 Vanguard, and then play a couple others, probably a Mage. You'd level up for a Mage. I think until you hit 6 Vanguard, you're probably playing 3 Mage, because the Mage does the double cast for the Galio, which is really important probably for the hero augment. Okay, so that's all like the main stuff out of the way. Here I'm just loose streaking. I'm really trying to find like a bow, a rod here, so that I can make a Guinsu. Now, I think in this game, I make Guinsu, I make Gunblade, right? I kind of play it kind of similar like Bard, how Bard was in set 11. I just wanted, in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, if I'm going to play Vertical Vanguard, I'm going to have a really tanky front line. I kind of want this, whenever you're building a Guinsoo, you want to have a lot of tankiness. That's why I'm trying to max out Vanguard instead of maxing out Mages or maxing out Portal. Because the tankier your front line is, the longer the fight goes on typically, and your damage is basically scaling infinitely as you stack up these auto attacks with the Guinsoo. So it makes a lot of sense to me to try and stack up to make this, how do I phrase it? You try and max out the vertical trait to make your front line as strong as possible, so that your Guinsoo has as much time as possible to stack up to a point where your Galio is just so incredibly juiced that he just kills everything, right? So we get a Rod on our first carousel, so we have a Guinsoo on Galio, and I want to make double Guinsoo on Galio. It's usually not triple Guinsoo. You want some sort of utility after. I'm scared that Galio might get randomly sniped in this game. The way that I'm building this board, it feels like Galio is going to be my only damage dealer for a really long time, right? Like I'm holding on to Soraka because I'm trying to keep some low-level units, because when I reroll for Galio, I'm hoping that I can hit at least 1 or 2 other 3-star units to kind of beef up my board, right? So as you can see, now I have Galio. Hopefully I hover over him and you can see how he scales up his ability power. Basically every auto attack is giving me more ability power. It's also granting me mana, which is making it easier to it's like 4 autos to cast always, right? So he doesn't need like a mana item. I think you could give him Shojin and you gain 5 more mana per auto, and then it's only 3 autos to cast, right? Because by the math, I'm pretty sure. But I don't think it matters that much, because if you're stacking up Guinsoo, he's going to get those auto attacks off really fast, and he's going to do the cast a bunch of time. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Guinsoo, Shojin, something else. Like, it's something that works out really nicely because of the way that the way that his mana is. His mana is 90. So if you have a Shojin... Actually, no, Shojin would mess it up, because Shojin gives 15 mana to start. Never mind. Actually, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm wrong about Shojin, but I think it's definitely like a double Guinsoo, right? Obviously this is set 12 PBE. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that at the beginning of the video, but I'll say it now. This is set 12 PBE. This is not, if you didn't see in the title and you missed it at the beginning, the things are subject to change. Units will get updated. Boards will get updated. So if you see this video later in the set, please make sure to take into account that this is before even stats are available for the set, right? So you should never, I'll put it like, right? I'll leave it up for a couple seconds in case somebody's like scrolling the video. Because it's at 12 PB, you always have to keep that into account. I only have 1 Galio. This is what I mean by if you take a hero augment and you're not in a particularly amazing spot, especially with these 2-star hero augments, it doesn't matter how strong the hero augment is, it's going to be very awkward for you. I'm not particularly rich. But I'm not also particularly like poor, but I just have very few Galios. So I really need to hit this Galio 2. Excuse me, I really have to hit this Galio 2. I need to win out on most of stage 3, because a lot of times with a 2-cost reroll, you want to be very strong on stage 3 so that you're set up your game for late game really nicely. So I wouldn't be surprised if I start rolling a little bit here to try and find this Galio, but we'll see how it happens. But anyways, yeah, because it's at 12 PBE. Things are subject to change. Balancing is going to change a lot, obviously. And there could be some issues with all of that. So just be understanding of that. Here, I don't have an extra Vanguard, so I'm trying to fit in some extra units. I find the Vex, which is a mage unit. Vex is like a really strong frontline unit. She's one of the strongest frontline units right now. So... but I probably don't want to play Vex in this game particularly, because I'm going to have so much frontline already that I don't really care about having another frontline unit. Here it's because it's my first game playing a Vex on my board. This video is a little bit older than some of the other ones. I know now that Vex is a frontline unit. During the time of this video, I didn't know that. I thought Vex was a backline unit, just because of her synergies and how Vex was in a previous set that I played. So anyways, my Galio just fucking dies. That happens, right? I think it's from high voltage, just because the Spark had enough range, and then when he cast it, he took a bunch of damage. I'm kind of down to give him a gunblade, just because if there's going to be some backline access like that, I don't want my Galio to die because he's going to be the only unit up. So I want to I want him to have some sort of sustain, right? So the build that I'm going for this game is Gwinsu Gunblade, and I'm unsure if that's like the greatest thing to have, but we'll see. So here I took the reroll one. Every gold above, you gain a free reroll. Yeah, so this is a new prismatic. You gain 26 gold, gain 1 permanent reroll for every 10 gold above 50, maxing out at 100 gold, right? So basically, I'm trying to get to 100 gold. Then you get 5 rerolls per round, and then I'm going to slow roll using those rerolls. Now, when it says permanent reroll, it doesn't mean like, what it means is that you get those 5 rerolls, and they stack, but they do not like compound, right? It's not like you gain like you just gain. So if you have 100 gold every round you're gaining 5 rerolls. That's it. So if you sit and you don't use any of those rerolls, it will add up because they're permanent. They're not like for that round only, but it's like you kind of have to use it like that, right? If that makes sense. This guy's going to be very strong. It's always scary when you see an Edge of Night on a Frost unit, in my opinion, because the way that Frost works is they summon these extra dummies or these duplicate clone things, and then when you have those Frost units, they how do I phrase it? You target the Frost unit first. That's what usually happens. So when you're targeting the Frost unit first, when a Frost summons the dummy, you target the dummy first, right? So if you have an Edge of Night, what can happen is somebody like an Olaf who dives the backline could de-aggro, and then you'll target the Frost dummy, because instead of re-aggroing the Olaf that's right in front of you, you'll aggro the Frost dummies, because the Frost dummies have increased, like not like a taunt, they don't like distract, but they have priority on who you target. You always target the Frost dummies first. See, so like right here, my Galio is like shooting at this Blitzcrank, and then he's gonna shoot at this Warwick, and you see how he's not shooting at this guy who's right next to him. But yeah, the lobby's very strong. I think Frost got a little bit nerfed from the time of this video. You'll see in this video, I think Frost is like unbeatable. This was very early on in the PBE, and I think Frost was just absolutely broken. And all the Frost units are very strong. I think they're still quite strong. I think PBE is trying to work them towards like a more okay state, which I think they're getting there, but you know, it's not the ideal situation. Here I just take 3 cost rod. I could take another bow to try and make my second Gwinsu, but I'm just gonna make a gunblade, right? I've had multiple times now my Galio die earlier than before. The Galio has Vanguard in, which is very like strong to be like how to phrase it. Vanguard is working out really well in terms of him being like tanky, but he's still dying really easily, so I'd rather just have Gunblade and make sure everybody's like strong. Here I'm using my rerolls. I know that I'm losing a little bit of value on the augment, but I really just want to hit this Galio 2, right? If I hit this Galio 2, I'm losing like every single fight. So I'm basically just rolling here for Galio upgrade, right? And then I'm going to sell some other units that I don't need. I switch out, as you can see, I'm playing Viger now. Viger's a really strong mage unit as a backline. Because I have this reroll augment, what I'm basically trying to do is I'm basically going to play pretty much this board. Because I have the Fawn, I could level up to level 7. I don't even have to push any levels past 7. And basically on level 7, I'm basically going to go for 3-star this guy, 3-star this guy, and 3-star as many of the frontline units as I can, and that's going to be my board. And I'm just going to make like a giga tanky board and hope that Galio can kind of carry with the auto attacks. As you can see now, I'm starting to be like way stronger than some people, right? I definitely hit. I did lose a lot of value off my prismatic, right? Usually with this prismatic, you'll probably want to slow roll 100 and then only drop below when it's really necessary. But here I'm just rolling because, you know, I might as well. And then I use this charm to see if I can reroll all of these. Now, something that I didn't know, this was before I really studied like the Viger mage line. I've talked about a lot of my other videos if you want to see those ones. There'll also be a Viger mage video uploaded sometime in the next day or two. But basically with Viger, you want to be buying charms every single round. So Viger works really well in reroll boards because every 2 shops you see a charm. The charms are the things that appear, that appear right over here. They're basically like an extra added effect. With charms, Vigor scales his AP. So it's really important to, in reroll boards, every single turn you buy a charm, because you're trying to maximize the AP on the Vigor, and that will help my overall damage output, right? Not only is Galio going to be really strong, but if I'm rerolling for Galio and I have a Vigor in, I just buy a charm every single round. The Vigor's going to get a bunch of AP, and he could be like a secondary carry for me, right? That's the idea. So I think it works out really nicely, and like in terms of a board. And as you can see, this board's pretty good. If I didn't have the Fawn, I would be playing one less Vanguard unit. So I'd probably drop, like, for example, Blitzcrank. Or I can drop, for example, like one of the one-cost ones that probably don't do much later in the game. So this would be the board on level 6 that you reroll. And then you would just push levels for 6 Vanguard, right? So on level 6, you don't have a Fawn. You would just play this. Then you go to level 8, and you'd play the extra ones, right? And I think this is what you usually want to do. You want to have in the mages in early to make sure your Galio is doing enough damage. I'm not sure if you should stay 4 Vanguard and play 5 mage. That's the only thing, right? Like, I think it's 6 Vanguard, 3 mage. But what we don't know yet, until we have, like, a lot more knowledge, as well as, like, when the set's released, it could also be 4 Vanguard and 5 mage, right? Like, both of these fit on level 8. Which is usually where you cap out on, like, 2-cost reroll boards, right? It's very hard to play, like, a reroll line and then also make it to level 9, level 10, unless you really high roll. A lot of times, even if you low roll, as long as you hit your units, you can pretty easily make it to level 8 and just play some extra units for synergies to power up your board. The 5 mages gains damage output, which I don't know if we need the damage output because the Galio gains so much AP, but that's only for time to tell, right? In this case, I'm going for a 6 Vanguard. Oops, I did something that I shouldn't have. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Sorry if I'm a little bit, like, out of breath or thing. I woke up, I'm really congested. I was going to do the recording of this video a little bit later, but today is EVO weekend. If you don't know, by the time I upload this video, if you're one of the first viewers or anything like that, I'm a huge fighting game fan, and this is like Super Bowl weekend for fighting game players. So right now, I think in like 10 or 20 minutes, Guilty Gear Top 4 is gonna, Guilty Gear Top 6 is gonna start, and that's the one that I want to watch the most out of all of them. I'm also quite interested in watching like the Brawl Pro Tekken commentary party, which seems really fun. Mage Emblem would have been so strong there, because with Mage Emblem, if I make Mage Emblem with Fawn, I would have been able to make it to yeah, that's my bad. I think I'm just so far off of another Galio item. My items look so awkward that I just decided to take Pandora's here. I think Mage Emblem is so strong, because with Mage Emblem, then you can play 6 Vanguard, and so you can play 6 Vanguard, 5 Mage on level 9, and this seems like the insane. Then you have the best of both worlds, right? Like, yeah, that's fucking busted, right? So, you know, it is fine. Anyways, we're at 100 now, so as you can see, every round I gain 5 rerolls, 5 free rerolls. So every round I'm basically just rerolling 5 rerolls so that I gain a bunch of stuff. Discount is pretty cool because it's free gold, even if you don't use the charm. I should be buying every charm, like I said, for Vigor, right? I mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again. Vigor scales off of how many charms you buy, so it's really important to buy those charms, right? I don't know if my Galio wins this. This Nami unit stuns like crazy, and it's like basically like a counter for my board. So every time she does like the huge Leviathan thing. But yeah. Here my whole bench is full, so I'm trying to decide like who I actually buy. Like I said, I should be buying a charm every single round. If I scale up this Vigor, it will really help my damage output, which is really important. Here, it's like, you know, I might as well upgrade the Mordekaiser. I'm just using my free rerolls. I'm rolling a little bit deeper because as long as I'm above 100 gold, I should be fine. Yeah. If I was a little bit faster, I would have hit this. That's my bad. Like I said, I think this is one of my earlier games in the set, so I'm also very confused with the units and how they look. I'm getting a lot more comfortable with it. But you know, that's obviously part of the reason why things look really like shaky. I'm really not finding that many Galios though, which is really scary. As you can see, I hit Warwick 3 on level 6 before I even found like close to enough Galios. I have more Mordecai. I have as many Mordecais as I have Gallios, and I have more Rumbles than I have Galio, right? It's getting a bit ridiculous in terms of like being able to cap out my board properly. Because a lot of times, like by stage 4, you're usually at least close to hitting your 3-star. So I definitely think I'm hitting below tempo. Now, you might look at it and say like, well, you know, whatever. Like, this is why I say you usually have to take the augment when you have a good spot for it. Because as you can see, I didn't have a good spot for it. This is PBE, so boards are generally like weaker or more confused and conflated, right? So it's not even like I'm facing against like really optimized boards here. But at the same time, it's like I am not hitting the Gallios, right? If I started with more Gallios, it would have been better. I would have been a lot closer. The other thing is that I took a rolling augment. I took an augment that is giving me a bunch of free rerolls. So it's very important with a rolling augment that you hit a little bit earlier. Also, I skipped a Gallio. Did you see that? That's just, you know, bad gameplay. You know, it is what it is. I'm rolling a bit deeper, yeah, because I'm 1 off. So it's fine. I'm still above 100, so it didn't matter that I missed the Gallio. But that round, you see how many Gallios I hit? That round was really high roll for the Gallios. I basically, like, every shop I saw a Gallio, right? If it was a little bit more spaced out, I probably would have had Gallio 3 a couple rounds earlier, and I would have been a little bit more stable. But now we're finally online. So this is Galio 3 at the max. Hopefully I can show like the AP scaling. I never pointed it out. But basically every auto he's getting a bunch of mana. So he's 4 autos to cast now. And every attack he also gains a AP. So this is against Frost. This is when Frost, I don't know if Frost is still this broken. But as you can see, it's kind of ridiculous. Like this is just a vertical Frost. No real upgrades. Just a bunch of items. With some Edgenites. They reduced the health of the dummies by a lot. They did like a lot of nerfs, small nerfs to Frost that made them a lot less egregious as they are now. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I should be going for this Viger, and I should have been buying Charms. That's like another fault of mine. I'm looking for the sixth Vanguard basically, right? So I just want to put in 1 extra Vanguard. That's why I'm rolling a little bit deeper, because I'm basically like almost 1 life. So I don't want to overgreed, right? Especially in like a lot of other TFT games. It's like you don't want to overgreed when you're already like losing a lot of rounds. You want to be able to like, you know, try and win. I'm fighting another Frost guy, so I don't think I'm beating this guy, because this is when Frost was a lot stronger. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe I do beat him. Probably not. I don't know, it's looking kind of bad. Yeah. I don't think that Galio will lose to this type of board anymore. I'm pretty sure I would win against this board nowadays. But that's the point. That's the point of PBE, right? It's to find things that are not that are strong. It's to find things that aren't particularly strong, and it's to play around those particular units. Obviously, hitting the Galio really late was a bit of a problem for me, because like I lost most of the fights on stage 4. Almost every round, or sorry, almost every stage I've been losing most of the fights. Here I'm thinking about just slamming Protector's Vow on Rumble. I'm probably gonna hit Rumble 3 this game, and I have it scale. I have Rumble scaling a little bit because of Sugarcraft. Sugarcraft is kind of like Dryad or 8-bit, but it scales off of components slammed. So my Sugarcraft wasn't a major priority, but helping out my front line is really important, because basically if you look at it, I have all backline items, but anyways, I don't slam the frontline item. I need some frontline items, right? Like after this Galio got items, I should have itemized a frontline unit. Here I just leveled to 8 because it basically got a bunch of gold. And now on level 8, I finally find the other Vanguard unit. I have 9 units in, by the way. This extra dude is basically useless. That's my bad. I put in Honeymancy because it'll probably help out my Viger to do some damage, right? And I'm just playing a regular Callista Bastion board. So this was before any nerfs to Callista Bastion. So I'm pretty sure this is like a pretty strong board as well. But their front line isn't that strong, like in terms of itemizations. So I think I outscale, like this double Guinsoo, I outscale their double Guinsoo basically. So I'm fairly strong. Oh, he has the Rageblade augment. This Rageblade augment is so fucking bad, by the way. I think this Rageblade augment is so bait. Every single time I've seen it used, I don't think it has ever worked on a single comp, if that makes sense. Like I tried it out on most of the comps that probably want to use a Rageblade, and it just doesn't hit. It does not work. because you lose so much value off shred and anti-heal that you're pretty much forced to have to play dragons for anti-heal. And then like even if you get to a point where you can play like some sort of line with Guinsu and get anti-heal without the shred, it just doesn't work because your front line's so shit, and you still have an insane amount of trouble chewing through certain boards that have like bastions. So I don't like it that much. Excuse me, I have to blow my nose. Yeah, like I said, today is Evo weekend, so I'm trying to get this video out right before Guilty Gear Top 8 starts because I really want to watch Guilty Gear Top 8 and I didn't want to miss it. At the same time, I want to keep up the daily uploads going, so I'm just like trying my best to quickly get this out. So I still have like runny nose from waking up because I wake up congested a lot because it's hot, and then I'm also a little bit tired, so like you might hear it in my voice that I'm like a bit like confused. But yeah, it's just because I'm trying to rush this out to make sure you guys have that juicy daily content on my channel. I was supposed to upload like 2 videos a day for the past week, but like especially this weekend that Evo's on, it's like my Super Bowl, right? So I haven't been tuning in, or I've been tuning into that, and I haven't been doing a bunch of VOD recordings. I was hoping that like maybe like some of my videos would have done good, just like commentary from when I was playing live, but most of the videos that I put with my live commentary got like giga dislikes and low interaction. So I think that I'm kind of stuck always having to draw with this pen. I think this is what people come to my channel for, which is fine. That's totally cool that I found like a niche where people enjoy my content, but it's like at the same time it's like, man, I want to do some easy uploads. You know, I want to do some lazy uploads. I want to just stream and upload some VODs and not have to worry about like rewatching them and giving like commentary insight. But it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll do more VOD reviews for set 12 as well now. That's the point of YouTube. You try and experiment a little bit. We do a little bit of experimenting. With this board, I haven't been prioritizing anti-heal. Something I do know is that Rumble gives a little bit of anti-heal. It's kind of like Annie in set 11, but he does do a little bit of wounding. So that's what I was checking. But I think I'm just going to put the item on Rumble because it's like whatever. It gives HP, and this guy's stacking Sugarcraft, so he has a lot of like stats anyways. So Rumble can do some work for me. I'm kind of down. I think the next in should probably be a Bastion. So this is like a really high cap version of this board, right? So Honeymancy obviously is really good. This guy is pretty good. The thing is, like, if I make it to level 9, then I'll have 2 free open spots, right? With those 2 free open spots, I can just play 5 mage anyways. If I had only 1 open spot, then I could have I could also play Bastion, which gives my whole team 10 armor, which is pretty nice as well. But yeah, I'm basically using some of my rerolls because I'm pretty much 1 life, right? I die to any board if I can easily die to any board. So I just want to roll every turn, try and hit some upgrades, right? Try and hit something that spikes my board a little bit in order to be a little bit stronger. As you can see, even against the Frost players, like this guy's like level 9, like win streaking, trying to go to level 10, like 50 gold. So I'm obviously going to get outcapped by this guy. His board was just too strong for too long. And I don't think I'm going to win the lobby because this guy has so much that he can just like spike his board with. And as you can see, the fight obviously goes in my favor now. It's because once you hit like now I have frontline items. Before, a lot of times my frontline would die so soon and then my Galio would just get like overwhelmed. The longer that I can stall out with my frontline. So I don't think Vanguard specifically, it's Vanguard's fault, but I felt like Vanguard compared to like Shapeshifters and Bastion, it feels a little bit weaker, right? It still does, like now, I'm not sure if they're buffing it in any way. I haven't read the patch notes like as of today and stuff like that. But of the traits so far, my initial impression in PBE is that Shapeshifters are very strong, Bastions are quite strong, and Vanguard was the weakest of the frontline traits. In this, like, I've played other games where I've had, like, very few frontline itemizations, and I played, like, vertical Shapeshifter or vertical Bastion, and my board was a lot more stable than with how I did here, where I had vertical Vanguard. Now, mind you, it did take me a while before I actually hit 6 Vanguard, So a lot of it is that I hit 6 Vanguard as well as hitting Rumble 3 now that actually lives. But it's really important to have a front line alive when you're playing towards like these double Guinsoo builds, right? So I think the final board of this comp is always going to be something like Rumble and like it's always going to be Rumble, this, and this, right? These 3 are always going to be necessary because it's going to be Mage, it's going to be Vanguard, Vanguard, and these are both 2-cost units, right? So you really want to pair up when you're rerolling similar cost units because they thin out the pool as you roll for one, you roll for the other, right? Also, a big thing that I mentioned many times, if I'm playing this board, I'm pretty sure this board is like the board that you would play with this comp. The only thing is if you drop down to 4 Vanguard and play 5 Mage, right? Which might be a thing if you hit like a Vigor 3. But I'm pretty sure Vigor, I should have been scaling up my charms. That's something I didn't do. I'm pretty sure I bought like close to no charms this game. And that's just a me problem. Here I should roll like a lot. I just go to level 9. I can put in a Bastion, but I can also play 5 Mage, right? I should probably put in 5 Mage. I don't know what I'm rolling for. I think I'm just too dizzy. I'm just lost. I put in a Mage. I need to find one more Mage, right? Vex here is probably fine, right? I don't know what I'm doing. I might just be dead this turn. I think I was just too dizzy. I was trying my best to level up. This guy, I think he's strong. It just comes down to like the frost statues and stuff. But it's not looking good. There's just too much in my backline. Look, there's a dude right here that's an enemy. Oh boy. Yeah, I think I'm dead. I don't even think 5 Mage would have mattered. But like I said, Frost was a bit overtuned at the start of PBE. It's a little bit better now. That's a loss. I lost a lot of fights that I felt like I shouldn't have a little bit earlier. But like I said, this is early in PBE. So they're going to change some of the stuff. But I think this is like a general guide of like, you know, this is how the augment works. These are some general ideas of the items and the board. And I think it can give you like a good step into understanding it going into the first set. Obviously, I'll do updates when the set releases. As you can see here, everybody that's like, you know, Frost, right? It's just like that's the way the patch was. It's like those were just the really strong stuff. But anyways, you just reroll. You hit all of the Vanguards. I think if you have a Fawn like I did, you can cap around 5 Mage. If you had the option of getting a Mage Emblem, you can cap around 5 Mage as well. Because Vanguard only goes up to 6. And then you just play I think it's always play 6 Vanguard, because I think you just need the front line in order to stack those Guinsoos. Anyways, thank you for watching, and hopefully this was enjoyable. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like this content. As well, enjoy Evo if you're a fighting game fan. That's this weekend, so that's what I'm going to go do. See you guys.